stand by. The vacuum tubes are warming up. This is a special live broadcast right here on Georgia Radio.
Well, it's always great when friends stop by, and today we have a special friend, Julie Dick Fudge, who you might know as the daughter of Patsy Cline, wrote a new children's book, along with a lady by the name of Judith Proffer. And Julie joins us now from her home up in Tennessee. Julie, welcome to the show. Glad to have you on.
Thank you, Matthew.
I want to talk about your mom just for a second, then we'll get into this book, aptly named Walking After Midnight, which is a children's book. And I was thinking about that title. And I thought, I hope the doors are locked, because if it were up to my son out here on the farm, there's a whole lot of places to get in trouble. We'll get into this. But tell me about your mom. It's just hard to believe that she's been gone as long as she has. But for a 30-year-old lady, she left just an incredible mark, not only on country music, but just on the world over, really, with not only her music, but just the story of her life and how you fit into this. Love to hear some stories.
Well, that is the amazing thing about this, isn't it? That she's been gone 61 years, and she was 30 years old. And all my children are older than that now. But it is quite astonishing that someone has the longevity to reach this many generations and still be going strong. It's absolutely something that I don't know if we can explain. It's just good quality music and some impressive people that worked with her, some beautiful songs, and the voice she was blessed with.
Amen to that. We have a friend who just passed away not too long ago, last year. Dick Flood was his name, and he was a country singer. And he said the most wonderful things about your mother, just not only on this show, but just hanging out with him. And in passing, he would talk about how she used to just really mentor him. And in fact, even went and helped pick out the outfits for he and his singing partner back with the Country Lads. What a legacy, just of kindness,
Well, in fact, his singing partner, Billy Graves, was always a great friend. And he even stayed with us for a while. That's how close they all were. They all began up around Washington together. And yes, that's the beauty. That's the proof in the pudding, you might say, is the stories that the people that actually knew her and experienced her as a real, live, everyday, normal person. Those are the best stories. Those are great.
Well, just talking to Dick and some other folks who knew your mother, you get the impression that she was a real kind of take the bull by the horns kind of a lady, not one to just sit around. Do you think any of that rubbed off on you over the years?
Well, I don't think I'm quite as bold as Mom was, from what I've been told, but I do think that between Mom and Dad, I have done okay. Yeah. They have taught us, pretty well, and I'm really thankful for that.
Well, let's talk about the new book, Walking After Midnight, which is a children's book that you co-authored with Judith Proffer. Tell us about this project and how it came about.
Well, Miss Proffer, she and her husband, we had done some work with last year, and it was just really interesting because she had written a couple of children-directed books, and she has a nice spin on things. She said, I'd love to take your mom's song and create a children's book. And the thought that Walking After Midnight for children might mean something like dreaming or imagining or remembering. And so I didn't have as much. I'm not the first name on the bill, let's say that, but I'm happy to share the bill with Miss Proffer. I was able to tell her a little about Mom and how she would have been growing up and what her home was probably like. And so there's a whole lot of aspects within the artistry and the dreams that little Patsy has that reflect on Big Patsy and how she might have thought the little Patsy, they did share a couple of drawings with me, a couple of options of how they thought little Patsy might look. So I did select the one that I thought kind of represented her to me out of the ones that I saw. And then she did add things like the photos that, well, the print, the illustrations that are in there is an actual illustration of a home that Patsy lived in Winchester, Virginia, and things that were in her home and in her life. The little glider that they would sit on the front porch and watch the traffic go by. The apple trees in the valley that they lived in are a very large industry. So the apple trees were included, the apple blossoms, not to mention a little pup that we had when when we moved into our last house. Mom and Dad and us kids had a little white pup, and his name was Peppy. So they kind of incorporated Peppy into the story, even though it's when Patsy's little, it was still part of her life. So we think that children will like listening or reading the story and knowing that their dreams can be many things and can take them many places. And it's just a sweet little story that Miss Proffer has written, and I'm very happy to have been a part of that.
I think it's great. And of course, as I told you earlier, when we got started, no doors even have to be unlocked except that one in your head there.
That's right. You'll be safe at home.
That's right. So a great book for everybody to read. Where can you find Walking After Midnight?
Well, right now it's pre-order. It's available through opportunities like Amazon and Books A Million. You might just check with your bookstores. It will be absolutely released on September the 17th.
All right. Well, that's good to do. Go ahead and pre-order it right now wherever you like to buy books, maybe Amazon or even down there at your local bookstore. Let's talk about some of the other stuff that's going on, because the annual Patsy Cline fan club, that's a tongue twister for me this morning. I don't have enough coffee.
You need more coffee.
I need more coffee. Talk to us about the annual Patsy Cline fan club meeting, because it's coming up.
Well, the Patsy Cline fan organization right now is officially called Always Patsy Cline Fan Organization, and this was I must say the latest, the longest endeavor of a fan organization. And my father would watch over it, and I had an uncle who ran it for many years, and eventually I took over the helm, which involves it's a lot, but it's very little in this day and age. We are an old-fashioned postal mail newsletter.
Yeah, you send it out if you sign up.
That's right.
Comes in the mailbox.
Absolutely right. You can look. Of course, we have a page on Facebook. We are that modern, and we have a lot of friends that have been with us going on 40 years now.
Wow.
And in 1987, a group of people started meeting in her hometown of Winchester, Virginia. And it became an annual trek for Labor Day weekend. And yes, many of those people will be there this Labor Day weekend again. And we meet, and we have if you're a member, you can make reservations for our banquet. And on Saturday, that's on Friday night, on Saturday of Labor Day weekend, we have a large block party. It is held by the people who run Celebrating Patsy Cline. It's a nonprofit organization who has preserved her home that she lived in before she married and everything. And you can tour the home. There's music, there's food. I'll be there. A lot of the fan club will be there. We'll have a copy or two of the new book so everybody can see it. And we just have a great weekend, and then we get together on Sunday morning at the Shenandoah Memorial Park, where my parents are buried, and we have a memorial time. And we just really have a great time, and we love all being there together. We created a family, if you will, and it's amazing what Patsy's music has brought together there for almost 40 years now.
I think it's great, and there's a whole new generation discovering your mother's music.
There absolutely is.
Deadpool, a big movie that's out right now. You have a song on the soundtrack, and then
yes, can you believe that?
I'm telling you, it's just it's amazing the power of this music. Tony Bennett said that there's only two types of music. There's good and bad. And I think that's so true. Even today, when you hear something that's just as memorable and powerful as Walking After Midnight or Crazy. I mean, the list just goes on and on with your mother's stuff. There's no question. It's just good music. Tell me about November 21st, because PBS Great Performances is doing something really special. Yes, that was an exciting activity that we did, and actually it'll be November 22nd. November 22nd, there will be the first broadcast of a concert that we did here in Nashville last April. The concept of the concert, which is also called Patsy Cline Walking After Midnight. Well, actually, it's Patsy Cline. I'm sorry, Walking After Midnight, a Patsy Cline tribute. And the idea was that we had so many people that are always saying how much Patsy influenced them or how much they grew up listening to her. And the list of people is so amazing in the depth and the width of the genres of music, the locations of the people, the ages of the people. So we thought, how nice would it be to get together a bunch of those people and have a great evening? So we did. We have over 20 acts that perform. We have a wonderful band. They all performed, the band all performed the music directly from the notes that were made by the musicians. The great Harold Bradley, who was one of the musicians, and his brother was Owen, the producer. And the music sounds like Patsy's music. The singers sing her songs, and yet they all have their own flavor. We had artists like Ashley McBride, Beverly D'Angelo, Kristen Chenoweth, Rita Wilson, Pat Benatar, and Winona. And it just goes on and on. Like I say, there were well over 20 acts that were involved, and it is quite an impressive evening. It will be on PBS Great Performances, and we're so excited and hope that this will probably go on to DVD, and we're working on the possibilities of soundtracks. That's wonderful. Well, it'll be, again, on the 22nd of November,
yes.
PBS's Great Performances series there. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing all of that, and of course, the book is out, coming out September the 17th. You can get the new book, Walking After Midnight, right now, courtesy of Julie Dick Fudge and Judith A. Proffer. I should say you can pre-order it right now.
Yeah.
Ahead of the big release. Well, thanks for coming on today. I have a friend who's a log truck driver, and I was telling Wade about you coming on, and he said, I just wonder if she's ever been, pulled over in the parking lot at the grocery store, getting out of her car, and somebody pulls up and asks for directions, first time in Nashville, and the conversation gets started, and she says, well, I'm actually Patsy Cline's daughter. It's just, are they surprised when they meet you on the street? If it comes up.
Oh, well, that's the beauty of being in my position. I do get to do these wonderful, times on the radio. I get to go to the Opry and say hello to somebody once in a while. And, but I can also go to the grocery store without being noticed. But it is wonderful. It is wonderful to be downtown. I sometimes go downtown. We have the Patsy Cline Museum downtown, and I can be in the museum and someone will walk in and ask me directions, and that's great. And if I'm there and staying a while visiting with folks, yes, they're very shocked to see, oh, you're kidding,
Wow. Yeah, and I'm sure you get asked all the time if you've ever taken up singing or had that desire?
Well, in the business, of course, most anybody in Nashville, is always told if you ever want to, when you're connected like that. But I just never had everything it takes to want to do that as a lifetime thing. I've always said there's a difference between can sing and do sing.
There you go. I think it's wonderful what you're doing now, keeping your mother's memory alive. And of course,
well, thank you.
I know all the folks who are a part of these fan clubs and supporters of that are truly
it's
appreciative.
Wonderful.
Well, thanks for coming
wonderful.
on, and I hope you come back and share some more news with us as time rolls on. And just don't be a stranger around here, Julie. Glad to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd be happy anytime. We just love being able to share and to keep things available for everybody. They've been so wonderful in making it possible.
Well, you have a home here on Georgia Radio anytime you want it. Just
Thank
knock
you.
on the door and come on in. Thanks again, Julie. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
We'll be right back after this. And if you're listening on the live stream, stay tuned. I think Walking After Midnight's coming up next.
Georgia Radio. Good company and great country.
Enjoying the country music.